Hello, everybody. Welcome back to a brand new, never before heard episode of Hello,
X-Files.
I'm listening.
Oh, sorry.
Yes, you already got the theme of the episode. We talk about Loch Ness monsters.
Ghouls.
Ghouls and crouches.
Crouches?
Yeah.
Crouches?
Crouches. Ghouls and crouches.
What is a crouch?
A movement. You crouch. You've never heard of a crouch?
So we're talking about ghouls
And crouches.
Crouching.
Yes. Oh, wow, this episode is off to a good start.
Sure is.
Everybody, please just a quick reminder, subscribe to the podcast. It's just one button click and it helps us a lot. And if you have not done it yet, please consider rating the podcast. Just give us 5 stars. You don't even have to write anything. Would really, really help us.
Don't consider it. Just do it.
Please, please. And if you want to really support us, head over to our Patreon where we have 2 tiers and you can support us there. And Joe is waiting there.
Hello,
Joe. And and we'll probably release some, maybe, I thought about it and we might do that, release some exclusive content there, some exclusive episodes or even video stuff like porn. And we don't release porn there, so don't worry, that's on our OnlyFans. So head over to our OnlyFans and no.
OnlyFans.com/translatinglove. Or
Yes.
hello, I'm listening.
Danielle. That's our old name.
I know.
As you can hear that I'm a little under the weather right now.
You can't really tell.
No?
No.
Okay.
At least I don't think so.
Okay. So what are we talking about today?
Aliens.
Aliens. E.T. phone home. Is it E.T. phone home?
Yeah.
I've
But his voice does not sound like Mrs. Butterscotch.
E.T. phone home.
Not quite, but okay.
I'm a tiger. Okay, so we're talking about aliens and our thoughts because we're clearly
Experts.
NASA scientists and experts on that field. So we clearly
we've both been to space, so...
And we clearly have seen aliens and UFOs. So no, it's the thing is it's a very popular thing right now. And since we try to, contribute, or other people would say, use popular content for our stuff, benefit, yeah, and rail on it, bounce on it, and come on it multiple times.
Oh boy. We're taking a turn here.
Yeah. No, but the thing is, I thought it's an interesting topic, and I have some, bits and pieces on it, or some opinions. And the thing is, I like the idea of aliens, not necessarily the idea of aliens in pop culture, like the famous movie Alien, or the recent movie we talked about recently on the podcast. No one will save you. But the idea of other life out there in the universe is very fascinating and more likely than there's no life, because
it's
we are
super
here.
probable, I feel like.
I've seen a video that popped up on my, I think, Instagram with Neil deGrasse Tyson, and he was talking to I think she was a NASA scientist, and she said, if you would compare the universe to the ocean on Earth, and you could not even fill a glass of water, and that glass of water represents the amount of space or universe we have discovered and seen. So it's a glass of water compared to all the ocean on Earth that we have not seen. So that I thought that was a good comparison, and that alone, just if you think of fish in water, you take a glass of water in the ocean, there's no fish in there. Like, I would say 99.999, not 100%, there's no fish.
No, not necessarily, depending on what ocean you're in. They have those really tiny fish sometimes that are everywhere.
But 99.9999%, if you just take a random glass of water from the ocean, there's no fish in there. And based on that glass of water, you can't just say, oh, there's no fish in the ocean. So it's a good analogy, or other people would say anal OG.
Anal Augie.
Anal Augie. Imagine being like a professor at the university and you like in all seriousness.
I want to present you all with an anal Augie.
Yeah. You may understand this topic better with this anal Augie. And people are like, what the fuck is he talking about?
Or this metapore.
Metapore. Yeah, so I thought that was a cool analogy. And makes it more grabbable of how big the universe is, and it's still expanding, so yeah. But what do you think about aliens?
What do I think about them?
What is your opinion?
I mean, I also think that there is other like life out there, because why wouldn't there be? Yeah. With how big the universe is. Yeah. And I mean, it's outrageous to think there wouldn't be. It would be outrageous to think we're the only life forms in the universe.
Yeah, I agree.
I think that's kind of silly.
I totally agree.
Especially just knowing, like, I mean, with that analogy, it's good analogy. It's good because if you've watched anything about space and the universe, even if it's just like a short video or something, it typically does that like zoom out thing, you know?
Yeah.
Where it shows you just how fucking tiny we are. We're like a speck.
How insignificant even we are. Yeah.
So to think that there's no life out there, I think is pretty outrageous. I mean, sure, there could be life forms on other planets in our solar system, but I'm thinking more like broad spectrum.
Yeah.
But I think it's possible.
Yeah.
But the idea also kind of freaks me out, but only because of pop culture, because of like movies and.
I mean, the thing is,
what if life forms came here and we're like, oh fuck, this planet's awesome, let's try to take over.
I talked to who did I talk to? I don't know, someone. To a friend. And what are those alien movies based on? Human experience. So we basically put our experience and our self into the aliens, which makes sense because what are we doing? We conquer, we kill, we destroy. So it kind of makes sense that aliens that we see in pop culture, in movies, in TV shows, wherever, are evil. It totally makes sense because that's all we know and that's who we are.
Yeah, and it's also just what we, that's anybody that's an outsider. Yeah. Alien or not alien.
Yeah.
Tends to be seen as a bad guy in many situations.
Think of this, the people who got to America first.
Sure.
What did they do? Killed everybody. Took the land. Brought in some slaves.
Got to America first.
Yeah.
Rediscovered
America. No, yeah.
That's claimed that they discovered a land in which people were already living.
So it makes sense. So every movie we see about like Independence Day, for example, it's the same fucking thing, Yeah. Aliens come here, want to destroy us. Oh, wait. Didn't we do that before?
Sure did.
So yeah, it makes totally sense. So I think the likelihood that those alien forms are evil or bad, or want us harm or want to destroy the planet is very low.
I agree.
And especially if you follow recent news and stuff like that, and with the whistleblower that basically said that there's a massive UFO and UFA is it UAF?
There's a new term for it. There's unidentified flying object, which is UFO.
Yeah.
But there's a new term for it that they use instead of that, and I don't know what it's called.
Yeah, doesn't matter. But there was this whistleblower, David Grush, I don't know how to pronounce his name. And he basically testified in front of Congress saying that the US has a secret program that recovers and studies UFOs and UAPs. That's what the term is. And in short, the Pentagon denied all that stuff. So basically they denied Grush's claims and said there's no evidence of any program involving extraterrestrial materials or objects. And congressional there was congressional interest, though. Lawmakers from both parties expressed interest in Grudge's claims and called for more transparency in reporting on the UAP phenomenon. And he basically, it's very interesting. I watched some YouTube videos on that matter because I was very interested in what he had to say. And he's a physicist. He was in the army. He's a very, very intelligent guy, and he doesn't seem at all like a conspiracy theorist or a crazy person. And he himself has not seen any of that stuff, but he was involved in some higher secret programs. Okay. And he talked to first 10 people who saw and who worked there. And not only one, but multiple people.
I mean, I would believe that there's a department for that. Why
no,
wouldn't
totally.
Why wouldn't there be? Any scientist would be, I feel like any scientist would be interested in that. Yeah. If it, if there was some sort of evidence or some sort of proof, even if there wasn't, there are probably millions of scientists out there who look for proof of things like that.
No, I agree. And it also makes sense if you think about that. Sure, we know Area 51 and stuff like that, the mysterious area in Nevada, I think, right? Where I think so. There were multiple UFO sightings or something, and you're gonna go close to this air base, and yeah. But it kind of makes sense if you think about it. Like, what if something crashes? I don't think necessarily that governments would like the public to know right away. And what he claimed is basically they're studying things that are not from Earth and trying to understand the technology and maybe use it then. Which makes sense.
Sure.
Yeah. And that was basically very recent. And then, I mean, that was kind of outrageous, but it was also kind of funny. In Mexico, and I mean, you heard that too, right? The guy who basically claimed that he has an alien body.
Yeah, the pictures were going around, but I feel, that's the other thing. I didn't read much more into it, but so I don't know if it's been proven to be fake yet or not, or what it was. But, with AI surfacing the way that it is.
No, he showed the body at Mexican Congress.
Okay.
He had the body there, and a lot of things were like, a lot of memes were like, oh, it's cake, like the show is a cake,
I saw that
is
one.
It real? But they heard a testimony about the presence of alien life on Earth that included 2 corpses of extraterrestrials. The alleged alien corpses were displayed by James Musan, a longtime UFO personality with a history of hoaxing non-human remains. Okay. And NASA's UAP study team recommended that if there is any evidence of alien remains, it should be made publicly available for study. But with that comes the NASA report that came out a couple of months ago, where they said that there has been unidentified anomalous phenomena, UAPs, that covers unexplained things in the air, space, water, and elsewhere. So they have videos of things that they can't explain. And there has been a couple of videos have been published over the last couple of months where they basically say, we've seen this, we've recorded that, but we can't explain how this thing's move, how that thing moves like that and acts like that, almost like they're not bound to physics that we have on Earth.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that kind of goes hand in hand with like ghosts and things, because I think there are tons of things that people catch on video that can't be explained. Or tons of things that people say that they saw that can't be explained. Not just alien stuff like UFOs and all that, but I think there are countless numbers of things that can't be explained by physics or science. But that doesn't mean they don't exist.
No, I agree. I think we understand less about life and things surrounding life than we sometimes think we do. And I mean, with the videos, that's also a theory, and a lot of people, I think it's true too. I mean, the amount of cameras that are right now around the world, like basically everybody has a camera in the pocket. So it has never been as easy to capture a moment while it's happening and share it with millions.
Yeah.
My nose is clogging up. That's why I'm talking like that. But that also makes me feel like, okay, maybe there is not a huge alien presence around, because technically, people everywhere could just record it at any time and any place. So it's like a little, when you watch like this, like Signs. Mm-hmm. Remember the alien scenes where it's like the birthday party and all of a sudden the alien walks through the screen. Mm-hmm. Things like that. I mean, it's like obviously dramatized for the purpose of the movie, but things like that would technically happen a lot if something like that would run around on Earth.
And also, where did they, maybe you probably don't know this, but I wonder like where pop culture stuff, like where they got this idea of what an alien looks like. Because, there's that really stereotypical, like kind of teardrop shaped head with the big black eyes. And sometimes I think like, okay, sure, maybe, but what if there are just aliens who look similar to humans,
Yeah, I mean, the head and the big eyes, right? I don't know. I mean, at some point, probably a movie prop guy or something, or some creatives came up with the idea of that.
Maybe.
And with the big head, it kind of makes sense because they things like they said they're higher intelligence. They have more senses. They can move things with their mind and stuff like that. So there are a lot of like vampires, for example. How did the thing of vampires started, or werewolves? I think it's the same concept of human beings or artists, writers, coming up with ideas and things to explain, or maybe deep dive into things that they can't explain, or even want to explore for their whatever creative purpose or whatever.
I have an answer to the thing that I just asked. I just looked it up. The stereotypical shape of an alien, often depicted with a bulbous head, large eyes, a slender body, and spindly limbs, has largely been popularized by science fiction and pop culture. This depiction is commonly referred to as the, quote, gray alien, or, quote, Roswell alien.
Yeah.
And has become an iconic image associated with extraterrestrial beings. The origin of this particular alien image can be traced back to the 1947 Roswell UFO incident in New Mexico, USA. Following reports of a, quote, flying disc crash, newspapers published stories about recovered debris and alien bodies. These initial reports described the beings as small with large heads and eyes. Over the years, this image was further popularized and perpetuated by science fiction writers, filmmakers, and artists, leading to its widespread adoption in popular culture.
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense. That totally makes sense.
So it came about because of an incident and reports of what an alien looked like, but was then artists took their own spin on it. And it just kind of became the norm.
I mean, that's kind of funny but that's exactly what I said. I mean, so basically someone published something and based on that report or story or whatever, people start to, think of, okay, how could that really look, and try to paint it basically in their mind.
But that's something I also really liked about Doctor Who.
Yeah.
Not to be a total nerd, but that show's awesome. Every episode that I've seen, I kind of stopped with Peter Capaldi. No offense, Peter Capaldi.
Capaldi.
You're awesome, but I kind of stopped there.
The current webpage contact.
Oh boy.
Oh boy. Sorry.
But I liked their depiction because they would travel to different universes and galaxies and planets and all over the place outside of our universe, outside of our galaxy, and they always depicted the people who lived there differently, and I really liked that. It was never really the stereotypical. I think there is one who kind of reminds me of like the stereotypical alien, but even that one is not. I don't know. I liked how they depicted aliens on.
I mean, if you look at Star Trek and stuff like that, in the 70s, they. It's funny because a lot of the times they look similar, or their bodies are similar, but they look different. For example, they have different heads or forms or skins and stuff like that. But I also like the idea of that because, I mean, it always also was a social thing, you know, that even though we look different, we are not that different at all. So that was a social commentary, obviously. But yeah, I found another article that just got summarized. Maybe you heard that briefly. But there's something called the Drake equation. And it's a formula that estimates the number of detectable civilizations in the Milky Way galaxy based on various assumptions and factors. So the possibility of alien life or finding intelligent life forms on other planets that can communicate with radio waves or other electromagnetic signals is there. It's a possibility and very probable. The SETI Institute is a research organization that conducts scientific educational projects to explore, understand, and explain the origin and nature of life in the universe. And with the new telescope right now that got, when did it get deployed? 2019 or 2020? There's a great documentary on that. It's called the Hubble. The Hubble was the old one. That's the James Webb telescope. And with that telescope, we can look way, 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 way further into the galaxy and technically back in time. And with the new instruments and all that stuff, we can basically also detect certain molecules, certain elements on planets, and therefore can probably say, okay, there's life possible or not. And so with that thing up in the sky, or in the where is it, in the space wow,
He got there, everybody. He got there.
We can basically at some point probably say most likely that there are planets out there that have life on it. Doesn't mean that it's intelligent life, but there might be life, maybe like in a cellular form or even something bigger than that. And that's kind of exciting. And it's not going to take that long. So we will, most of us, and our listener base is around our age. So most of us will probably hear that at some point.
Do you feel, or do you have an experience where you felt like you've seen something? I do.
Like alien stuff or what? No. The thing is, I like to stare at the night sky, and I just look for things. But I've never seen anything that was out of the ordinary. Sometimes you see something, you feel like, okay, that could be that, or that's weird how that star or that light is moving.
Yeah, but that's exactly what I wanted to talk about, because there was, in the summertime, we were watching a movie outside, and at some point we both noticed this like white, we thought it was a star, but it was like a shooting star thing, but it was moving way too slow. Like it was super slow and just like gliding across the sky. And it wasn't blinking. There was no red light. There was no blinking white light or blue light, nothing. It was just a white speck, and it was just moving super slowly.
But I looked it up though. Don't you remember?
Yeah, I looked it up and I couldn't find anything.
No, most people say it's a satellite. And
satellites...
it's the reflection of the sun.
Really?
Yeah. That's how it moves. And that's... And it makes sense because at some point we saw it again. And it makes sense because they have the same...
True. Okay, then it makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, but because I looked it up too, and I couldn't find anything that said, I was trying to find like anything that talked about a light that's not blinking moving through the sky.
No, I looked it up, and that's what people said. It's so 99%. It's a satellite, or it could also be space garbage, but it's most likely a satellite. Yeah.
Then I don't have an experience.
Yeah. No, but I think it's fascinating. Just stare at the night sky, and what I like about that in particular, it has nothing to do with aliens, but we said that already. We're so insignificant. We're so tiny. It's sad that we don't see that. We always say and picture ourselves as the center of the universe, which is kind of not true. Technically, it's the sun, but at least from this galaxy. But we are such like a little speck of nothing out
Yep.
there in the vast of space, and even the time that we have been around, like we humans, is nothing compared to how old the universe is. But yeah, it's kind of sad that we as humanity, we can't just, stop putting ourselves on a pedestal and above everything else, and yeah, because with that we start wars, destroy our planet,
Yep.
kill, all that shit. But yeah, one more thing to the alien thing, at least from my side. I believe wholeheartedly that there is life out there, like intelligent life. I believe that there maybe are multiple civilizations out there
I agree.
who are in a way of form intelligent, and could completely look different than like us. Like, for example, people or like beings that live underwater somewhere, or like in some sort of like not fog, but in some sort of other state, and
Climate, not climate, but
whatever. It doesn't have to be a solid planet. If life can happen, I think, in a lot of ways. And I think that alone, we don't understand life fully. We don't understand how, things work in terms of how things develop. And I believe also that there are things out there still that we haven't discovered yet that will at some point probably blow our minds. Hopefully not our heads away, but but that alone. And the thing is that with that comes the fascination of movies that deal with that. For example, Men in Black. As a kid, I loved Men in Black. That whole idea that there are a lot of aliens out there and they just live everywhere, and there's like this spaceport kind of where people come to Earth and get away from Earth, and there's this agent who protects that, and it's just such a cool idea. And at the same time, it also shows that there are also aliens that are not just evil. They just want to live and enjoy their lives and be free and whatever.
yeah.
And I really like the idea of the Men in Black movies. Yeah. Do you have something else to add?
I don't.
Yeah. Please, we'll have like in Spotify, we have like a little questionnaire. If you think there are aliens or other life forms out there, just please answer. We would like to know from you.
Indeed.
That's only on Spotify though. Other than that, again, please subscribe to the podcast. It helps us a lot. Share the podcast if you like what you hear, like with friends or family, or just on your Instagram and your story or whatever. It helps us a lot. Head over to our Patreon if you want to support us more. We'll probably most likely put something out there exclusively for our Patreon members. And with the second tier, you can even get the shirt wherever you are in the world. So that's nice. And that.
And next week.
Oh yeah, next week.
Next week we have a very special episode.
Yes.
With a very special guest, our first in-house guest.
Yes.
Which was very exciting.
Yeah, that's going to be good.
Watch out for deer.